Hey, good evening. Good evening. Am I live? Hey, this is Cindy Baker, ADHD and productivity coach, and I am excited about our topic tonight because I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to. And so we're actually going to talk about expectations, um, how to adjust to change and disappointment. Um, so first of all, let me do a little tech check. Let me make sure I'm streaming where I'm supposed to. If you are jumping on live, if you could please say hi in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from, that would be awesome. And if you're watching the replay, if you could just say hashtag replay, whatever platform you're watching on. I do circle around, back around and look at the chat. So if you're watching the replay, let me know. And go ahead and just let us know where you're tuning in from. Let me make sure you can see and hear me. So it's good to be back with you. I hope you had a great week. Where I live, it has been like really hot, and I know it has for others in some other states around me as well, but we've had like heat advisories forever. So I'm in Tennessee. So anyway, I see a few people coming on. So greetings, good evening, happy Monday, all the good stuff. But we're going to talk about expectations because expectations are really what makes us feel disappointment. And so we're going to talk about how to adjust to change and disappointment. Because, unexpected change, it causes anxiety, right? It causes anxiety for all of us. But I think it's worse for those of us with ADHD because our brains have trouble switching gears. Have you ever noticed that? Like, it's really hard, I know, for me to switch gears quickly, and that irritates some people. I can remember being reprimanded once by a supervisor because she said something to me, and I questioned it. She wanted me to get up immediately and go do something, and I questioned it, but I wasn't questioning it out of a lack of submission to authority. I was just trying to process. I was like, my brain had gone in one direction and I had my plans for the day. And when she wanted me to pivot, all of a sudden, I needed a little time for my brain to catch up, for my brain to go transition from going one way to another. Do you guys, anybody relate to that? Put in the chat if you understand what I'm talking about. Because, we already feel overwhelmed by a world that won't stay still long enough for us to figure out what's going on. And when our plans get thwarted or we experience a disappointment, we can tend to get stuck. We get stuck ruminating over the unfairness of the unexpected change that's been put on us, and it's like we can't get out of our own head. I hate that saying, but I can't think of a better way to describe it. We play the would've, could've, should've game, and we replay the past, and our thoughts start to spiral, and we don't move forward. And when our expectations aren't met, we feel disappointment, and all of us know what that feels like. And so really there's a workaround. I mean, I can't keep you from feeling disappointed. If I could, that would be something I would bottle and sell at a very high price, but I can't do that. So what I can do is just to give you some tips and some things that have worked for me. And the first is just accept the disappointment, accept it, accept that things are not perfect. Now, those of us with ADHD struggle with perfectionism sometimes, but accept that life is full of change and disappointment happens to everyone. And it happened to you. So, it kind of helps normalize the situation instead of you being so bent out of shape over it. Just know that it happens sometimes, and it happens to you. So go ahead and let yourself feel the hurt, experience it, vent it to a friend, not a negative friend who's going to make you spiral more, but just get it out, journal about it. If you don't, it's like, and you've heard this illustration before, it's like pushing a beach ball down under the water. And when you suppress your feelings, because it's eventually going to pop back up, but it's going to pop back up somewhere else in an inappropriate way. And you'll have feelings that are out of proportion to the situation, because they're leftover feelings from a disappointment where you just stuffed it, you suppressed it. We could have a whole nother training on that. But don't stay there. Just accept it and get it out, but don't stay there. That's the key, because that's where so many people keep themselves from moving forward, is because they can't let go of the hurt or the disappointment or the unexpected change that came. You can't stay there. That's why the second step is so important. You have to turn the tables emotionally, and you have to reframe the situation. So instead of going down the rabbit hole of feeling sad and angry and depressed, think about the person or the situation that caused the disappointment, and then put the cause into context. Self-talk, talk to yourself, ask yourself, should I really feel this disappointed? Is it that serious? Feel, but then brush the feelings off and do it quickly. Don't stay in the bad feelings. The idea is to learn from it and grow as a person. So reframing is so important. Reframing means putting literally an objective frame around it. Separate the emotions from what happened and get some of your personal power back by doing that. That's what we want, right? Sometimes it helps to journal. I've been doing that this year. Even if I don't write much, I try to write something every day. But your journal always listens, and it never judges you. If you're a person of faith, of course, there's a Bible verse that says, cast all your cares upon the Lord because he cares for you. So talk to him about it. Change your self-talk. Instead of saying, this is the worst thing that can happen to me, say, okay, Cindy, this happened. So don't say Cindy, because that's not your name, unless it is. But you say, okay, this happened. Now I need to figure out what my next steps are. Remember, you are not a disappointment, and this won't last forever. What can you learn from it? You ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I adjust my course to avoid this disappointment in the future? Is that possible? What can I do differently next time? And don't take it personally. Like that supervisor that was asking me to do something, somebody had over her had just tasked her with the change, and so it really wasn't her fault, and all she was doing is pass along the information. So don't take it personally. It may or may not be your fault, but depersonalize it. So what if something didn't go as you wanted? It didn't go as you expected. So what? I know it's easier said than done, but you can't control other people. As badly as we want to, we can't control other people, but you can control your attitude. So examine the source. If it's interpersonal, talk to the person if that's appropriate. And if they don't listen, reconsider your expectation of them. Are you expecting too much? Maybe it's time to remove them from your life if that's possible. Of course, that couldn't happen with the supervisor, but remember, disappointment will never happen if you play it safe and never go out of your comfort zone. But if you do that, you're not living fully. So if you're choosing to really live, to really thrive, you're going to have disappointment, but you're also going to have incredible joy. It just comes along with it. My husband and I just recently watched that movie. I think I'd seen it before, but called The Giver, based on the novel. And the whole idea was trying to safeguard people from disappointment and conflict and hurt they had to take this morning injection that kept them from feeling emotions. But when they did that, they also cut off the good emotions like love and joy and excitement and laughter. And so you have to take a risk to really live all out. And when you do that, you risk disappointment, right? If you expect perfection, you need to change your expectations. Perfectionism is something that I struggled with, especially when I was younger. I really was scared to death that somebody would find out anything wrong with me. I was like just so worried about not being perfect. But if you are a perfectionist, you get stuck in procrastination because you're afraid of disappointment. And so you put things off. And as we know, with ADHD, we already have trouble being productive. So you don't want to get stuck in procrastination. So the first step is accept the disappointment. The second is to reframe it. And the third is just to focus on making positive steps forward after you've done that. It's easy to focus on the negative, and that only makes disappointment feel worse. But it's just as easy to focus on the positive. It's a choice. It really is. And it takes some practice, because if you tend to be cynical, it's going to take you a minute to figure this out. But it is just as easy to focus on the positive. And when you do, you have instant happy feelings, a little dopamine hit in your brain, and you get instant happy feelings. So make sure that you make that choice. Focus on what you still have. Gratitude goes a long way. If you've never kept a gratitude journal, I highly, highly recommend it. I may do a whole nother thing on that, but be careful who you hang around. Avoid all the negative Nellies. People's attitudes and their habits, they will rub off on you, and they influence you even without you being aware. So if you hang around complainers, you're going to absorb their disappointment. If you're in ADHD support groups on Facebook and all they do is whine and complain, get out. That's one of the things that's why I called mine the Positive Performance Club, because I don't want to hang around negative Nellies, and I don't want my group to be like that. So, it's like a vacuum. You'll suck in their negativity. So be careful of who you hang around with. Be careful of destructive comparisons too. When you compare yourself to other people, instead compare yourself with yourself. How far along have you come? And celebrate your progress. Because when your plans are thwarted and you're disappointed, your expectations aren't met, and you feel stuck, you can make a plan. You can start small and take small steps forward. And once you start moving forward, it's easier to keep going in that direction. An object in motion stays in motion. That momentum kind of kicks in. And so if this is something that you struggle with and you are wondering, like if you want some help getting out of that stuck state and figuring out a plan to move forward, join my group coaching program. If you are interested in that, let me know that you want more information, and I'll fill you in. But there are so many people who have gone through that program whose lives are changed. And so I know it works, and I know it could work for you. And so you just have to decide if it's what you want. But at any rate, coaching or not, do those 3 steps. Accept the disappointment, reframe it, and deal with your emotions in that way by reframing, and then make a plan for how you're going to move forward. So I hope that this has helped you. And I hope you have a great week. I hope this was some good motivation for the week. I hope everything goes as expected, but if not, I hope they're happy surprises and not disappointments. But if you have a disappointment this week, don't forget these steps, and I will see you next time.